Hey y'all, Cindy Cobb here with Around the Town in the South. I am excited today about this vlog. I have looked forward to this for years, wanting to sit down with Malcolm. I don't know if y'all know my story, but if you don't, I moved home from Alabama. I lived here till I was 22. I moved to Alabama. I was there 17 years, and then I moved home to Mississippi. Mississippi is basically my home state. And when I moved home March 28th, and it was a little bit too late for the parade. So hang on a second, I gotta switch around. And I know we're live, but I gotta be at this angle so I can see him.
I think I'll do that too.
I'm just saying, it's always fun. So anyway, over the next years, I got involved with everything. Cindy Toucher, I've told my story about Cindy Toucher. I said, we are going to be in this parade. I watched it. I was with a group called the Boa Babes. Now we're the Dining Divas. I said, we are going to get a group and we're going to go to that parade and we're going to have a blast and raise some money, needless to say, for Larry Batson. That's the whole point of this, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And so we did. We got our tent, we got our boas, and we had our cute little shirts. I still have my shirt. I can still wear my shirt. And we had a blast that day. We were here all afternoon through the night because the Blues Brothers,
Blues Boys.
the Blues Boys, they always play on stage over here, and they did. So, of course, I have to ask about the parade first and how that came about. So, welcome Malcolm White. Most of you know him. He's a fellow Mississippian. He loves Mississippi. And he and his brother Hal and Miles, they used to say, but he's going to tell us some stories. So, this is the very first one. So, tell us about the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Well, at the time that I had the first parade, I was between jobs. I didn't have Hal and Miles yet. Hal wasn't here. This place wasn't here. I had been working at George Street Grocery, now called the Tavern.
Yeah.
I had been hosting a series of St. Patrick's parties with Irish music on St. Patrick's Day in the upstairs of George Street, and they were really, really successful. So I knew there was a bit of an appetite for that holiday that had not really been developed here. In fact, when I moved to Jackson, the only celebrations were football at Memorial Stadium, the State Fair, the Dixie National Rodeo, and the only parades were the Christmas Parade, the Jackson State Homecoming, and the Dixie National Parade. There just weren't any parties or celebrations like I was accustomed to, because I had lived on the Mississippi Gulf Coast as a child and had lived in New Orleans. Hal and I both had lived in New Orleans years before we moved to Jackson. So one of the things that I thought about at George Street was I wondered whether or not a parade would be successful in Jackson. So seeing these St. Patrick's celebrations work, thinking about St. Patrick's Day, and having lived in New Orleans where they had great St. Patrick's parades, I came up with this idea of what first I thought would be a pub crawl, that we would go from bar to bar to bar. But unfortunately, back in those days, 1983, there were only 3 or 4 bars.
Right.
So there was no way we could walk from one to the other. But there were 2 that were relatively close together, and that was CS's and George Street. So I went to the guy that owned CS's, and I talked to the guy that owned George Street. And I said, I want to do this St. Patrick's celebration. We started one and ended the other. And they both said fine. They didn't think I really knew what I was doing. And I told a friend of mine who worked at the Clarion Ledger at the time, his name was Rod Coffin, and he was a columnist. And I told him casually what I was thinking. Well, 2 days later, he literally writes a column in the Clarion Ledger about this big idea that I have, and it sort of boxed me into a corner, and I couldn't hardly not do it. So I threw it together, and part of the way that I threw it together was I began to call my friends and say, hey, I'm going to have this parade. Can you put something together? Can you be in it? Can you get a band? Can you help me? Can you build a float? I need some participants. And one of the people I called was Jill Connor Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, hey, Jill, it's Malcolm. I'm thinking I'm going to have a St. Patrick's Day parade. And without even missing a beat, she said, great, I'll be a sweet potato.
Oh, wow.
And I said, great. So she and my then wife, Vivian, went to Goodwill and got these old ball gowns and got in the back of a friend's pickup truck. And on the side of the truck, it said Anglin Sweet Potato Farm. And they handed out sweet potatoes as we went down the route. And that was the birth of Jill and the sweet potatoes. And she was in the parade every year until she broke off, I don't know, how many years ago, and started her own event in farming. But anyway, so that's how it started. We started at CS's the first year. We went downtown. We caused a traffic jam because I was able to get a parade permit for 4:30 on a weekday. And it just caused all sorts of havoc in downtown. And the havoc turned into publicity, and I milked that for weeks and weeks and weeks. You know, how could the city have given this guy a permit during rush hour, and he stopped all this traffic? And anyway, we worked on that and worked on it. And then we cut a deal with the city. Look, if you'll let us do it again next year, we'll move it to a Saturday. And we promise we'll never do it during the week again. Yeah. And the parade was born.
And what year was that?
That was 1983. And this past year was our 35th year. And this year coming up will be our 36th.
Oh, wow.
And it has moved. It started at George Street. It moved to the fairgrounds. Then it moved up here to Hals once we got this over.
Right.
And so it's moved around a little bit, but it's always been a fundraiser for Larry Batson Hospital for Children.
And how did that come about?
Well, in about year 3 or 4, I got a call from the Public Relations Department at Batson Hospital, and they said, we would like to talk to you about making the parade a benefit for the Children's Hospital. And I said, man, I'm flattered, I appreciate the call, but I don't ever want to try to sell this as something it's not. I didn't create this so that I could attach myself to a charity and people would be interested in it. I said, it's a parade, it's a small business, I don't want to be deceptive about it, and I appreciate it, but I think I'll pass. Well, so a year passes, they call me again the next year. They said, look, we'd really like for you to at least come to the hospital and look at what we do and reconsider whether or not this could benefit Children's Hospital.
Right.
And I said, okay, I can do that. So I went up there, and if you've ever been up there.
I've been up there, had a tour.
I was done.
One walk in the door.
Halfway through the tour, I was in tears.
Oh.
I said, I'll do anything y'all want me to do. What do you want me to do? I'm happy to be involved. And from there, we started the relationship.
That is awesome. That gives me chills because that's one thing we Southern, we're around the town in the South, and I hope I'm talking loud enough, but that's one thing that we do is we give back. And we look for charities in our state, and every state's going to be doing that. But that is a huge one, a huge charity event for Larry Batson. And that's one of the things that drew me also to becoming a part of it. And I see your happy faces. I can't see that far because the camera's out, but I just want to say hey to the viewers that are on. I hope we're talking loud enough. If we're not, give us a thumbs down and we'll talk louder. That way I'll know, because we are live and we're out on the patio because I love this sign. I love everything in here. When I walked in, it was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm back 18 years old because this used to be the Lamar. This was my hangout for all of about 4 months before they changed the age. I was telling Malcolm, at 18, I was actually legally able to get in the door. And within 3 months, they changed it to 21. So when you walk in, all the memories flood back from then. And then now, since I've been home, we have come here to many concerts. We come here every year except for one. I've come to the parade every year except one in the last 8 years. And it's just like you're at home, just like you just said. So I know that parade, and I know you're a big advocate for the Mississippi Tourism, the Art Commission, the Blues Trail. That particular day alone, what kind of monies, I'm going to use monies, does that bring to our state, to our city?
Well, it's been a long time since we've conducted an official, what they call economic impact study. But we did do one a number of years ago. And I mean probably 10 years ago. And at that time, the estimated impact was between $7 and $10 million for the weekend. So I don't know how much it is now, but it's a lot. I think it's probably the largest single day event in this part of the country. It's a free event. We have no way to know how many people come because they don't pay, and so we can't count them. But as you know, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who come to the Friday night events, who come to the Saturday parade, who tailgate, who go to the street dance, who go to other bars and restaurants, who do other things, who get hotel rooms, who buy food. But it has an enormous economic impact. It brings a lot of people to town, but more importantly, it does the thing we were just talking about, and that is it highlights the good work of the Blair E. Batson Hospital for Children, which is the only hospital in Mississippi for Mississippi children, regardless of their ability to pay. They will take care of any Mississippi child who has a problem. They also do research on children's diseases and children's afflictions. It's an amazing facility. They're currently building an enormous addition on it, which is wonderful, and we're glad to be a part of that. But it does that work. It contributes to that work. We're happy to partner with that work. But also, it builds civic pride. It makes people like yourself, and hopefully the people that are viewing this, it makes them proud to be from Jackson. It says these are the good things about Jackson. You know, every community has good things and negative things, and this is one of the things that everybody can brag about. The city government leaders can brag about it. The state government leaders can brag about it. The local businesses can brag about it. People can brag about the hospital. They can brag about all the good stuff that goes on, because everybody comes together. Everybody's on the same page. You don't see black and white that day. You don't see young and old. You don't see Hinds County versus Rankin County or Madison County versus Hinds County. All of that goes away on St. Patty's Day. And everybody comes downtown, celebrates our culture, raises money for the children at Blair E. Batson, and says, hey, Jackson's a cool place.
That's awesome. I've walked it this last time with JTD, and I had a blast. I usually am in a golf cart, and I have a blast. But what I love, and I don't know when you incorporated this, is you have the pet parade and the children parades first, because they wanted to make this a family-oriented event, but they also want to go ahead and put in, still in the little ones, what we have, the kind of culture we have and what we do at Larry Batson. And that's the best way to do it. So as I was doing the parade last time, we were in the area over near the museum where the kids are, and y'all, there was balloon artists, there was makeup artists, face painting, all kinds of things, clowns,
rides.
It's awesome. So just know that when we're talking about this big event, it is for families. Now, mind you, we took our nephew and niece home when the big one started, and you should. That's my opinion.
That's right.
You should, because it's an adult thing afterwards. And then of course we came over here at Martin's. We visited Martin's and came over here for the band. It was awesome. So when you're looking at something to do, as you're coming through and you're looking at traveling, it's always in March. Look at that event. It is awesome. And like he said, the whole point is raising money for Larry Batson, for our children. And he just said something to me I did not realize. I didn't realize that if you had a child and didn't really have the funds, that they're not going to turn you away. And I think that's big.
It's huge.
That's huge.
It's huge.
So are you going to be doing anything else besides the parade with them as they build this addition?
No, we just do the one event each year. This year we're going to coordinate closer and closer with Jill Connor Brown and her efforts, because she has always made her event about the Children's Hospital as well. That's one thing that never changed. When we were together, it was all about that, and when we separated, it's all about that. But she and I have talked about working closer together this year. Whatever she does, whatever we do, we want it to be connected more dramatically to the Children's Hospital, to the Batson Hospital for Children. So we're happy about that. But sometimes we buy equipment, sometimes we buy furniture, sometimes we give our money for art classes, sometimes the money goes to various things.
Right.
And the truth is, it's not even about the money, because it takes millions to do what they do. We don't bring millions, we bring thousands. But we do bring support, encouragement, and conversation about the good work that they do. And that's what we really feel like we bring to the table, is that we're out there telling their story and sharing their story. And it's a magnificent story. And we're real proud to be a part of it.
That is awesome. So when you say that I love Jill Connor Brown, I love you to death. I had a conversation with you last week. I can't wait. I hope you're able to get on our vlog with us. I've watched you too. I admire you and the things that you've done, and the notoriety you've brought to Mississippi. Also, in saying that, what kind of partnership? Would they be in the parade, or would they still be separated, or are you going to surprise us?
There's got to be a few surprises left.
You know I had to ask.
That's fine.
And look, we're here to help do anything we can. We have a Facebook that can go all the way through the South. We want to help do whatever we can with that parade. So call on us, volunteers, or whatever you can do. So now I'm going to transition into Malcolm is on the Arts Council, and he's brought so much. You've brought a lot of notoriety to Mississippi in yourself. We were just discussing your book and things like that. What do you have on the? I know right now. Tell us what you're doing right now as far as the economic development, bringing in to the people to the state. But what all are you doing?
Well, my day job, as I like to call it, is I am the executive director of the Mississippi Arts Commission, and it is a state agency funded by the federal government and the state government to re-grant and service arts across Mississippi. So we are the connection between the National Endowment for the Arts in Washington, the Mississippi legislature, and all of the arts institutions, whether they're museums, or they're individual artists, or they're events that are arts-based in communities all across the state. We give away about $1.5 million a year to artists, arts projects, and to arts institutions through the redistribution of the money that we get from the federal and state government. So that's what I do all day long. And then when I'm not there, I have the two books. I have the Instagram book that I published a couple of years ago with Chandler Griffin at the Blue Magnolia Films and Barefoot Film Workshops. Huh?
I think I shot louder.
Oh, you can't hear me? And that book's called Little Stories, and it's a book of Instagrams. And then the book that Ginger Williams Cook and I just published through University Press in Mississippi is a book about Hal Mouse. And it's called The Artful Evolution of Hal Mouse. And it is the story of my brother Hal and I's adventure to create this place, where we came from, who our families were, why we got interested in food, why we're interested in music, and then a bunch of stories about what has happened here, the parade, concerts, many of the things that you talked about. So that's one of my side projects. And then, of course, the parade is an annual event that we plan all throughout the year. Arden Barnett is my partner in that, and we bring all kinds of other people to town. Charlie Abraham from Delta State comes back and works it. We have all these local partners. We raise money for the Animal Rescue League, through the Pet Parade.
Right.
And again, we work with the Jackson Convention Visitors Bureau. We work with the State Tourism Office to develop this event and others. And then, like, I'd say the most important project that I'm working on right now in terms of Mississippi culture and tourism is I am leading the charge to build a Mississippi Writers Trail.
Oh, wow.
Similar to the Mississippi Blues Trail, the Mississippi Country Music Trail, and the Mississippi Freedom Trail.
Oh, wow.
So this is the next trail that the state is building in order to bring people here to understand our literary contributions to the American culture. And Mississippi has an enormous story to tell.
Absolutely.
So we are raising money, we are collaborating with all of our statewide cultural partners, tourism office, the book festival, and we're going to roll out at the coming book festival on August the 18th, the first prototype of the markers for the Mississippi Writers Trail. And the first two markers will go to Eudora Welty and to Jessamine Ward, who is a Mississippi Gulf Coast writer. So that's a really big project that I'm working on.
That is awesome.
There are many others, but those are just a few that are right there.
It's funny that you say Eudora Welty. When I was a senior in high school, we had to write a thesis, which, you know, I loved school, but I was more the social butterfly. So
Imagine that.
I sat in class and I had A's and B's, but I could not wait to get out in the social world. I just couldn't. But I did my thesis on Eudora Welty, and I absolutely loved her. I grew up in Clinton, like I told you, I graduated from Clinton. So when you're talking about the Arts Commission, I have a question on that. When you say you give the money, is the music, is that incorporated in art, or is it just strictly painting?
No, it's all disciplines of art.
Okay.
Music, theater, literary, visual, digital, photography, all art forms we consider to be part of our mission to fund. So we will fund a writer, we'll fund a potter, we'll fund an exhibition of work somewhere, we'll fund a museum like the Museum of the Mississippi Delta,
Right.
or the Warren Rogers Museum, or the Orr Museum, or the Gumtree Museum. We fund them all.
Wow.
And any community that has an arts-based event, whether it's an art parade, or an art festival, or an art exhibit in the community, they can apply to us for funds for that.
To be granted to them. Oh, that's awesome. I did not
So
realize.
all
they did
forms
that.
of art.
All forms of
Theaters,
art.
all the little theaters in Mississippi,
Uh-huh.
from New Stage, which is a professional theater, right on down to the Corinth Little Theater. We fund them all. Little theaters, museums, school programs, arts in schools. We have a program called the Whole Schools Initiative where we teach classroom teachers to use the arts as a teaching tool. It's called arts integration, but what it means is it means that you teach history and science and math using art as a teaching tool. And we've been doing that at the Arts Commission for 25 years, for a long time.
Hey, and y'all, I will put these links on there for y'all to go check everything we just discussed, because I think that's important for you to be able to put your eyes on some of these things that I did. And as you know, we are live because I love doing the live vlogs. They're so much fun, and I did just feel a sprinkle on my nose, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I just want to ask you one last question. If there's anything that about you that nobody knows about, or that nobody knows, what is that one thing that you would want them to know about you?
Well, there are many things that people
Sometimes that's a crazy question.
don't know. I would say this. The one thing that people who maybe have followed me for years through my career, my adventures, all the stuff I have done, they probably don't know, and wouldn't be any of their great business, that I'm a grandfather now. And I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, Ren, who is just the love of my life and who I enjoy totally. It's a joy to have her in Jackson, to have her living in the Belhaven community where we live. And you know, if I'm crazy about anything other than the things that we've been talking about, it's about being a grandparent.
Those grandchildren will change your life, won't they?
Totally.
I read something the other day. This was funny on Facebook, and it said, talking about being a parent, Mom, can I have peanut butter and jelly tonight? I'm going to ad lib because that's what I do. And she says, no, you're eating the peanut butter and jelly. And then here comes a grandkid. I don't want peanut butter and jelly. Honey, what do you want? Do you want me to cut it in stars for you? It's hilarious. So I want to thank Malcolm. It is about terrain. We are live. I want to thank Malcolm for joining us. I cannot wait to tag and link these things that he's talked about. And he will be back on here with us again in
We'll come
February.
back before the parade and answer
We've got
all
to do
your
the
questions.
parade because I definitely want to do that again, because I think that as we go along and you do so much, I would love for you just to be a regular guest with us, because you bring so much to the South. We couldn't do this without our sponsors. I want to thank Juniker Jewelry on Highland Colony. They're having their Dog Days of Summer sale until August the 16th. Also Posh Bump in Flowwood. I want to thank Handyman Mitch. And those are our 3 for today. So thank you for tuning in with us. We will see you tomorrow. We have something big, big, big coming your way tomorrow. The 3 of us hosts will be in one place. So tune in, share our blog with your friends. Get them to like our Around the Town in the South page, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make an impact on the tourism in the South, especially in my home state, Mississippi, but in every state. But that's why we're here and what we're doing. So I'm going to walk up front. This is live, and you're just going to see me closer. I'm going to finish this out, but thank you for joining us. I hope you'll have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.